Good morning, Annika.
Good morning.
Okay, so you have a big paper due at the end of the semester, and I want to give you some insight of what I think is important in writing a paper and things that I think will make your writing go smoother. So, writing is one of the most important things in the formal business academic world, but it's also one of the rarest and most undervalued skills. So, I'm going to help you fix those. What are things that you need to write a paper? Time, right. So you need to get a head start on your paper. A head start does not mean the night before, or even 2 days before, or even a week before. I would suggest you giving yourself at least 2 weeks. You need 2 weeks because it's also recommended that you let your paper sit 2 days after doing a rough draft. So that allows your mind to refresh and gives your paper breathing space. You also need time because it gives you time for peer review, which is also super helpful, getting outside information or pointers on how to make your paper better, and then also for yourself to review your own paper. You need time to write a paper. Why do you need time?
To write a good paper.
Right. So that leads me to my second point of quality over quantity. So teachers will typically give you a word count to meet or page number to meet, which you should meet those parameters, but at the same time, when you're meeting those, you need to make sure that the words you're putting in are quality rather than quantity of words. So you shouldn't just be filling the space. You should be filling the space with your best work. So, as you're choosing your words carefully and consciously, you need to consider your audience and who you're writing to and what the words and vocabulary should be for your audience. So, typically, who's an audience you're writing for?
My teacher.
Wrong. You are not writing for and to your teacher. Although your teacher will be grading your paper, you should not be writing your paper for a grade. You should be writing your paper for your point to be across. So you should be writing for your classmate sitting beside you or just a regular person. So when writing your paper, you need to also consider, since you're not writing to your teacher, you're writing to just a student, you need to add in those minute details and thoroughly explain things. You can't just skip over certain details just assuming that they know. So recapping, since you're not writing to your teacher, although they will be grading it, also know that your teacher will level off with your vocabulary and your knowledge, and they won't be grading you on that necessarily, although they will. They'll be grading you on your message and how you get it across. So also with that, choosing your words carefully and consciously. You shouldn't be going into Microsoft Word and clicking on every single word and adding a synonym to make it elongate your paper. When adding those synonyms, although good, you need to make sure that they contribute to your point and your thesis statement and that they fit into the context. Some words will fit better than others. The final tip is to write the crappiest first draft that you know how to. So outlines are good. You can use an outline, but an outline will always lead you to a rough draft. Your first writing will never be your final writing, and if it is, you have a problem. So when writing, just let your words flow. Forget about the grammar, forget about the rules, forget about the sentence structure. Just write everything down. At the end, you can always copy and paste, delete, add in. It'll be great. It's not what you write that matters, it's what you rewrite that matters. Okay, so now that we've covered the broad spectrum of my points, I want to go into small, minute details. So one of them would be to know your homonyms. So homonyms as in like there, and there, to and to, except. They all sound the same, but they have different meanings. You need to know them. They are your friend. Once you mess up on one, I can promise you that your instructor will be looking for them, and you're just setting yourself up to be graded harder. Okay, so in formal and academic and business writing, you need to eliminate contractions completely. So wouldn't should always become would not, shouldn't, should not, can't, cannot. One word, two ends, and won't, will not. Those are just a few. And also when doing that, you're adding to your word count and the length of your paper, so that's great. So, next point is to avoid the word you and actually eliminate it completely. You do not want to be talking at your reader, you want to be talking with your reader. So instead of saying you should go to the doctor for an appointment, you should say people should go to the doctor for an appointment, or patients should go to the doctor for an appointment. So next point, which is better explained by examples rather than by definition, is show, don't tell. So, for example, she was happy. You're saying she was happy, but how would you show that she is happy?
Her smile shone like the suns, like a million suns.
What was that? Say that again. That was good.
Her smile shone like a million suns.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good example. All right. So I've gotten through what I've wanted to. What are some other tips you would give to a classmate?
Avoid using Wikipedia.
Okay, yeah. So Wikipedia is a good foundation. It's a good start. It's a good place to grab ideas and think of things. But like I've read something that even one of the founders of Wikipedia suggested students not to use it. People can add in stuff, and although maybe accurate, you can find other sources that are more accurate. So also following up with that is don't use outdated sources. So that's not saying that you can't use a source from 1990 or the early 1900s. You can use those, but you need to make sure that that's the newest information out there. You don't want to be using information that is old. So, tell me something that you learned today, or something that you think is super helpful.
I learned that I shouldn't write my papers overnight.
Do you do that?
Yes.
Are you good at it? Alright, Annika, so at the beginning of the semester we went over my helpful hints and tips on how to write a good paper. So how'd that go?
It went well.
Yeah? What did you choose to write about?
I wrote about how chimpanzees differ in the wild versus in captivity.
Oh yeah? How long did you give yourself to write that paper?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Did you have time for peer review?
Yeah, I had my friends look at it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Who is your audience when writing this paper?
Anybody.
Anybody?
Yeah.
Alright. What were some of the sources that you used?
I took sources from National Geographic, a website for my local zoo, and some books.
That's good. How did your acronyms or homonyms go?
They went well. I don't think I was confused at all.
No?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. And did you happen to use the word you?
No.
What are some nouns that you used to fill in?
Well, since I was talking about chimpanzees, it was mostly they. But
That's good. That works too. Those are always good to use. So it sounds like your paper went really well. I'm glad that I helped benefit you. And stay tuned.